Okay, so we are in the second section here, and the topic is service. The title is When I Serve Others, I Am Also Serving God. So we're in Mosiah chapter 2, verses 10 through 26. And the chapter, or the section question for us to consider, in which Laura and I are going to discuss here today, is what do I learn about service from these verses? And so we're going to talk a little bit back and forth. I just think kind of in starting off the conversation, the one thing I love about King Benjamin is he wasn't someone that just preached. You all need to serve. Service is an eternal principle. It's an eternal thing. You need to get out there and serve. One of my favorite sections of this reading is in which we learn a little bit about King Benjamin, and even verse 14, I myself have labored with mine own hands that I might serve you. Before he talks the talk, he has walked the walk. And so his message of service penetrated the very soul of these people because he was a living example of Christ-like service.
I've seen that. I think I've said it on here before maybe, or maybe I've just shared it at church, but the quote I love is, bear your testimony whenever possible, and when needed, use words. And so that's kind of what he did. He bore his testimony of it through his actions. And when needed, he taught them with words, but his testimony was the greatest example that made a difference to them. But one of the questions at the very beginning of this section, it says, do you struggle to find time to serve or wish that your service brought you more joy? And one of my things is finding time to serve. And I mean, because I always sit here and think I want to, but I'm so busy, with 5 kids and everything going on and yada, yada, yada. But there was a picture I saw, and I wish I could say where it was or anything. I can't remember it, but it stuck out in my mind, and it said, serve at your earliest inconvenience. And I love that because service shouldn't be convenient. I mean, yes, you can serve when it's convenient, but the sacrifice really comes when it's inconvenient. And that's where the sacrifice brings forth the blessings of heaven. And that's where service can really change you, is serving when you feel like you can't and when you don't want to. And I can testify of that. This just brought me back when I think I had known you for like a week. So my uncle passed away from cancer, and he got the diagnosis when I was on my mission, but my family didn't tell me while I was on my mission because they didn't want me to worry or think about it or stress about it. And so when I got home is when they told me that it was terminal and that he was going to be passing away. And Peter, I think I'd known you for about a week. I don't remember exactly what day. I'd known Peter for about a week, and he was there when I found out at my house. And it was devastating because he had little kids, and it was such a shock for me, and I just wanted to shut down and cry and just be down and just not do anything. And I remember sitting there, we were in our basement, and he turned to me and said, hey, we need to go serve. He said, this is a tough time, and we need to go out and do something and serve someone. And so we went and served. We went and visited these 3 sisters called the Golden Girls, these 3 older ladies that lived in our area, and it completely just changed my perspective on everything. I felt this love come over me for them and for me and for my uncle, for all this situation that was happening. Like, this peace that came upon me was incredible as we did something and served. I didn't wallow in, it was sad and we've had our cries and everything, but I didn't wallow in that. I didn't just focus on the negativity. When we needed help, we went out and served, and that's where I found the joy. Yeah. The joy of service really brought that love and strength to me at that time.
When you find yourself down, serve others to get yourself back up.
And I know you don't really want to. I know I didn't want to. That was the thing. It was inconvenient. I had just heard some bad news. I didn't want to, but it brought us back up. It really did.
Thank Laura for. Sometimes we discuss things we're going to talk about, and other times we just kind of have thoughts come to us as we make these videos. And I didn't think this was going to be an emotional video, but Laura just sharing that story just kind of brought back the memories. And the prepared message that I kind of wanted to give was from one of my favorite playwrights, is from Les Miserables. And I don't know if if anyone could watch that playwright without tearing up and crying because it's so touching, seeing all these symbols of Christ throughout the entire story. And so I want to read a verse, and then I want to talk about a thought that I had. And so verse 20 we have here, I say unto you, my brethren, that if ye should render all the thanks and praise which your whole soul has power to possess, to that God who has created you. And so we get this principle of gratitude, this principle of giving thanks back to God, who has kept and preserved you. And so I just, as I was reading that, for some reason my mind went to Les Miserables. And if you know the playwright, this will be familiar to you. If you do not, you can find a lot online. I think I actually found a clip, which I'll post in the comments, and it's a great little just scene there from the recent production that was created. But the scene is titled Back to God. And I love this. So just to kind of paint the picture, we have Jean Valjean. He's just been released from prison, and he's struggling to make his life as a normal man. He's got this burden on him and from his past sins, and he can't free himself of that experience, and he can't find work, he can't keep work, he has no place to live, no place to go. He's a felon of the state, and people don't want to hire him. And so he's really, really struggling. And then this one scene on a dark night, he's actually comes, his last hope is he turns to a church. He turns to God. And so often that's what we do in life when we can't find any other way out. And this priest, he brings him in, and he doesn't just give him shelter. He gives him food. He gives him a place to stay. He takes him from the storm, and he is so giving and so freely giving, just the way that I believe our Father is. And then with all this goodness that Jean Valjean's receiving in this moment, he actually steals from the priest. He takes the silver and he takes the materials that he noticed the priest putting away, and he leaves. In the middle of the night, he runs away thinking that this is his only chance to be able to have the finances. You can come in whenever you want, but and he gets caught. And here he is, a felon of the state with a bag full of silver, and the automatic reaction is, this guy has stolen. And he did. They were right in their assumption. So they take him back to this priest to basically deliver the goods and to put Jean Valjean, which will probably be prison for the rest of his life, as he already had these previous sins that he had upon him. And so he goes, and can you believe he had the nerve to tell us that you gave these to him? And then the priest immediately, with mercy and grace, and he immediately says to him, that's true. He did. Those were given by me. But the thing is, he left so early, he forgot the best part. So not only does the priest give him what he's taken from him, but then he gives him more, and he says these, two candlesticks. These 2 candlesticks. And then he said, and use these. Then the charges are dropped, the military police officers, they leave. It's the priest and Jean Valjean alone in this moment, and he says to Jean Valjean, use these things to become an honest man, and then essentially take your life and give it back to God. You don't have to pay me back. Just take all of this and turn yourself to God. And as we're reading of King Benjamin, we are no more than the dust of the earth. We will return to the dust. We are not ours. The things around us, gold, silver, they're just so materialistic. And the real treasure of life comes through service and relationships and developing just those interactions with people, which people are God's greatest gift. We're his children, and when God sees us laboring What is it? What does the scripture mastery say? When ye are in the service of your fellow beings, ye are in the service of your God.
Well, it comes back to what are the two great commandments? Love God and love your neighbor as yourself. And we show that love for both through service and what we do for them. And I just love how it says, like, thinking about the importance of service and the motivation for serving. It says it all throughout here, but in verse 21 it says, I say, if you should serve him with all your whole souls, yet ye would be unprofitable servants. God has given us everything. He's given us our lives. He's given us our breath. He's given us the ability to just be here, the atonement. Absolutely everything comes from God. So no matter what we do, we're still going to be unprofitable servants. But it brings this desire in me to want to try, to want to show that gratitude and show that love for him. Even though we can't completely, do it, we'll still be unprofitable, but we can do our part. And through that service, we can show that we do love him and we are grateful for everything that we have. So it is an eye-opener for me. I know I haven't been the best at serving right now because I've been so focused, the kids and everything else that's going on. But that's the time to do it, is when you feel like you can't.
We've got this COVID-19 going on, and it's very easy to turn inward. But I loved, it was actually a post from Sister Madsen talking about how there are unique opportunities right now to serve. Serve, do something, share your experience with us in the comments. We'd love to hear about your service that you render to your fellow beings. Or
that somebody has done for you, because we have been served very much as well. As a family, people have been so amazing to us, and we have felt that love from them. Yeah. So, or a service that somebody has given you as well.
We love you.